Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Richard Hawkins. I'm from Family and Community Services, and my area of responsibility is disability access and inclusion within Family and Community Services. There's a lot of disability in the news at the moment. There's a national disability insurance scheme that's on the way. There is a lot of talk around disability. It's in the news frequently. My role is looking after this implementation of the New South Wales National Disability Strategy 2012-2014, which is a whole of government strategy, a commitment to making disability, making the lives of people with disability far more accessible, far easier, give them the access to things that you and I take for granted on a daily basis. The pitch that I'm doing today is really a combination of things. The museum introduced a lot of the concepts quite nicely in their micro space of the museum, if you like. I'm going to try and get some of those concepts extended across society. One of the, probably covering 4 areas, not particularly just data, but I'm looking at using current apps in new ways to give people with disability more access to stuff. Using the current data in more accessible ways, so turning that data into more useful apps for people with disability, sourcing new data from people with disability so we actually learn a little bit more about their experience and a little bit more about what sort of things they need to make their life more accessible and make their service experience more excellent. And that's sort of the approach that we're taking, making everybody's service experience excellent across New South Wales, and that's consistent with what we're doing in the service area of across all of government. And then using technology, the capacity of some of the mobile devices a bit more effectively as well, so we can utilise some of the technical capacity of those things. I've got 4, but a few more that I'll throw in, concepts that I'm going to talk really quickly through. One of them is accessible events. People with disability want to get out. They want to experience life. Let's make that an easy thing for them to do. If you go onto Ticketek website, it is really difficult to identify what's an accessible venue and where you can sit and what you can do and whatever else. So let's get some information out there that allows people to identify where the toilets are so they can sit close to them, or identify where the food outlet is that they can actually reach the counter on, or identify where they can sit on with a group of people and a group of carers that come with them. We do things with Companion Card in New South Wales, which is a system that allows people to come along with a companion free of charge to a lot of events and venues. Let's tidy up that process, but also let's look at it from their perspective, which might be, you know, I'm going to the Easter show. Let me drop a pin on the map of the Easter show so I know where to get to when I get lost. Let's make that mapping experience a lot easier for somebody so that they can actually go, okay, well, here I am at home and I need to get to the Hordern Pavilion. Let's link some end-to-end journey things together so that I get to buy the ticket, so I actually get on the bus and then on the train, and it tells me where to change and it shows me how to walk to the location. You've got to remember there are 4 million people in Australia that have a disability. There are what do we got? 400,000 in New South Wales who've got a severe or moderate disability. It's a large audience. It's a large crowd of people that need support. So that was pitch number 1, was around the transport and end-to-end and accessible venues. My next ride, again, it's got a transport focus, but it's an ability to identify in real time the location of accessible cabs, accessible buses, accessible transport options, so that somebody doesn't have to plan 2 days ahead to go shopping, which might be what they do at the moment. So to know when there is a vacant cab coming past and be able to hail that cab electronically would be a real advantage. It might also be that element that I've suggested around connecting end-to-end journeys. TripView that I use, it's great, it tells me where the train is. It doesn't tell me what's an accessible station, or it doesn't put it in a format that allows me to see that that's a good station for me to get off if I've got an intellectual disability. I might actually have in fine print accessible or some other technicality. So simplifying some of the apps that are out there already to make them more accessible would be a really good thing. Accessible toilets is one of those things that you can't go out without a toilet. And we take it for granted because there's one in every pub and every cafe everywhere else, but they're rare and hard to find. We're doing some work at the moment about locating those accessible toilets better, and we're already talking about standardising the information that we put in place to be able to make those a more app shareable experience, if you like, so that you can actually pull down that location and people can upload it and maintain the quality of detail. But it also might be that you can actually open one of these toilets, because a lot of them are locked. You probably don't know that. A lot of them are locked and you have a key system. Well, wouldn't it be good if they actually could just get your mobile phone out and say, I'm an eligible person, let's flash that, or ring a number or whatever else. And people with a disability have actually said, I'm happy to pay 20 cents or $1 or whatever else, as long as I know I can get into the toilet when I want to, and I know it's accessible and clean and whatever else. So there might be some options there for electronic access or whatever else to those toilets. The last one is a really, this is the last pitch I'm going to have. It's practical in the sense that this room, I don't know, it probably hasn't got a hearing loop in. So anybody here hard of hearing? If you are, you're out of luck in this room, because it doesn't look like it's got a hearing loop. But wouldn't it be good if everybody in the room who has an iPhone or intelligent device was able to put that on the table, and that then became the hearing loop for this room? So a hearing loop is where a person with a hearing aid needs to be have it Bluetoothed or Wi-Fi'd into their hearing aid. A lot of hearing aids are compatible. Some people then all have to wear a device that goes over the top of their ear. There's some technology there that says, why can't we all share in that experience and make that an easier experience for that individual in the meeting by having an app that allows me to tap into that network somehow and produce an experience for the one individual in there. It's $20,000 to put a hearing loop into a room. How many meeting rooms are there in Sydney? Supporting people with employment. These are additional, so they're not on the cards, but supporting people with employment opportunities and refining search engines that allow people to pull employment opportunities out. And probably, I'm going to do one last one, which is that came to me from just putting all these together, is there isn't a good app for pulling together apps. Now, if I've got a disability, I'm going to wake up in the morning, I want to have an alarm clock to get me out of bed, I'm going to have a menu planner for breakfast, I might want to have a shopping list to make sure I get the shopping, I want to get on the transport, get all the way to work, I want to make sure that I've got a dozen other elements that I could utilise. How do I get to that event? What's my TV show? It's what I'm going to watch on TV tonight. We take it for granted that that's simple, and it's not. Pulling together apps that pull together apps in that way would be a really great way of organising the life of somebody and having that flexibility and ability to change those things. There's a couple of spare New South Wales plans. It's also available on the website that Family and Community Services, or I can get that circulated with the report if you'd like to find out where those things are. There's 135 actions in there that the whole of government are doing for disability access across the state. A bunch of them are amenable to some technological assistance along the way. And thank you very much for your time. I hope something comes out of it.